Great. Thanks for coming out. I'm hoping that all those people that signed up are going to start filtering in over the next half hour. I'm just going to prognosticate that it's going to happen. So, if you've come to the Concentrate events in the past, you'll notice the room looks so much nicer than when we do it. We tend to have kind of an austere approach, and that's thanks to our two guest hosts tonight, who are Krista Chambers-Price and Jenny Baloo, right? Am I saying? Jeannie, see, I knew I was going to do that. I can't get it out of my head, I'm sorry. We thought we'd do something a little different. About 6 months ago, I did a article about EntreSlam, which is the endeavor of our wonderful guests tonight, and I think that was the first one ever, right? Did I attend the first one? And I thought it was intriguing because it was this interesting mix of being a literary event, but having kind of this entrepreneurial bent, and I thought the combination, it was very intriguing to me. I come from years and years ago, I used to be heavily involved in the National Poetry Slam community, and actually ran the 96 National Slam in Portland, Oregon. And so this idea of coming out and telling stories about your entrepreneurial instincts in a competitive forum was pretty unique to me. We do these events, we try to do them about once a month. It's a new topic every time. We've done everything from mass transit to public art to talking to about what goes on in downtown development to how you install solar panels on your house. It changes every time. And if you ever have a topic that you think we should cover, you can always email me. It's jeff@concentratemedia.com, so it's pretty easy to remember. The program, our speaker series, is underwritten by the Michigan State Housing Development Authority, so we say thank you to them, and we say thank you to Connor O'Neills, who always provides us with this lovely room. I am going to basically hand over the evening in many ways to Krista and Jeannie. Now, I'm not going to say it wrong, I promise. And let them talk to you about, this idea of why they got involved, why storytelling and business kind of go hand in hand, and then they're going to do, I guess it's artisanal version of what they normally do, a micro version of the event they usually do each month. So if you could give them a round of applause, that'd be great.
Thanks for the fan noise. That's great. Hi everybody, I'm Jeannie Baloo, and of EntreSlam, as Jeff just said, and my partner in crime, Krista Chambers-Price. Yay. So, welcome. A number of you have been to EntreSlam. So what is it? For those of you who don't know, it is a storytelling competition for entrepreneurs that we do once a month at Live, which is a nightclub just around the corner, a couple blocks away. And so we invite any of you to come on out, and Krista's going to tell you a little bit about the history.
Does everyone feel nice and cozy? I don't think you do. Okay, so I'm going to share the history of EntreSlam. I'm going to do so with a story, right? Now, I'm going to introduce you to two guys. One guy is from Mississippi, straight up in the middle of the state, named Daryl, right? The other guy's name is John, and he's from Maine, Upper Maine. Now, the only thing these two guys have in common is Michigan football, right? Somehow they ended up in the state of Michigan together. Now, Daryl and John, right? These two guys say, you know what? We love that Michigan football. We love the fact that Notre Dame bit the dust last year, but we bit the dust this year. Sucks. Like, yeah, I know, man. What else you do in your life? Well, I'm an entrepreneur. I sell, buckets on the side of my truck back there. He's like, really? I sell pickles on the side of my truck. Who knew? So both of them talked about their businesses, and before then they had never even thought about talking about themselves in that way. All they knew was they loved Michigan football. Now, the other thing they said to each other was, you know, man, we should get out there and meet some more people, because how much business do you have? None. Well, how much business do you have? Someone positive last week. Well, that sucks. We should all go to the Chamber of Commerce and meet some new people. I said, but I hate going to those events, Daryl said, because when I go to those events, no one really sees me. I feel extremely uncomfortable, right? Because everyone is standing in that corner, and someone knows that person over there, and they don't really ask how I'm doing. So I don't really have a good time. Tom said, yeah, I feel the same way. But you know what? We love Michigan football, yeah! Okay, well, how can we combine a business event with something fun? How can we take something that we don't want to do and add some fun to it? So what do we need to add? What's at a tailgate party? Anyone? Pickles. Beer. What? Buckets. Food, right? All right, dude, we got this. Daryl and John said, or Tom said, look, we're going to bring it all together. We're going to have some beer, some food, some buckets, some chips, some dip. We're going to get my banjo out. We're going to have some music going. And we're going to tell each other how our day went, how our day went, how our week went. All right, cool. You know somebody can invite some people? Yeah. So they invited 2 people. Those 2 people turned into 4. Then it turned into 20. Then it turned into 75. Next thing they knew, a movement started. Because lo and behold, just as they felt the way that they did about business events, a whole lot of people felt that way too. How many of you in here can recall how you might have felt going into a business networking event and thought, yeah, I gotta go. Gotta do it. I mean, it's a necessary evil, right? So essentially, Daryl and Tom can be you and myself and David and Jeannie, and we can insert ourselves into these 2 individuals. And actually, the story of Daryl and Tom are the story of Jeannie and Krista. Because if you look at the 2 of us, you can say, what do they got in common, right?
Not in football, okay?
You can't stand Michigan football. But the 2 of us said, you know what? There's a different way. And we had no idea how it was going to work. We had no idea if anybody was going to come. We just said, we're going to be meeting over here now, and if you want to come, cool. And we packed the house. And we've been packing the house every month ever since then. And starting in January 2013, we're going to pack the house again, okay? Tonight is different. It's all good. So I want everyone to feel absolutely comfortable and warm with each other to share what's going on in your world, because this is serious business out here, what we're doing as entrepreneurs. It's serious, okay? But if we can all come together at least once a month and enjoy each other, and enjoy each other's stories, enjoy each other's journeys, it's all good.
So I want to share with you a little bit about our theme tonight is making a dent in the universe, right? And I want to share with you how we feel that storytelling and what we provided as Entreslime is making a dent in the universe. So at the last event, we had our dear friend Linda had a friend Mish who came, and she had another friend who came who'd never been before. She listened to all these stories one after the other, and she kept whacking her friend on the arm saying, oh, I thought I was the only one. That she was really connecting with these stories, and tears and everything, and a lot of laughter. And I really thought that hit the nail on the head, because what happens when we share our truth, like who we really are, it breaks down the barriers and the separation. And we realize the truth is that we really are a lot more connected and a lot more one than we often think of, especially as entrepreneurs. We're kind of lone wolves, aren't we? You're out there pushing it, doing it on your own, trying to hold the vision day after day after day. And when we do go to these traditional business networking events, a lot of times it's almost like we're vying for resources, So it's a really safe environment. Come on in, come on in. It's a really safe and fun environment and a way for people to connect. And it's that connection that we believe is what is going to keep us on the planet. You know, because we're kind of in a difficult spot right now. So that's how we are humbly making a dent in the universe. So I also want to tell you another story about storytelling and the power of storytelling. This is about a man named Jim Bangle, and he's a statistician who worked for Procter & Gamble. And he said, he was doing these boring weekly reports, week after week. He'd send it to his boss. Well, one day he decided to do something different. So he turned his boring report into a story, and he had his primary character was Ernest Engineer. It's a true story. And he said to the boss really liked it, so he shared it with somebody else, and the other people liked it, and before you know it, all the people in the department were all wanting to see this report every month, or every week. So he got excited about that, so he added more characters, and he started to grow and turn into, more and more of a drama in his story. He's just basically saying what he learned every week as a statistician in R&D. But eventually, this got so popular, it went outside into other departments. Before you know it, after 5 years, he was made the official corporate storyteller for Procter & Gamble. Okay? By the time this guy retired in 2010, he had up to 10,000 people reading his stories regularly, including all the high-level leaders in the company. And he even had the president of the company asking him to write stories for him because he knew that people would read them, right? So this humble guy ended up becoming a very influential person in this large corporation simply because he started telling stories. So what is it about storytelling that people want and love so much? Chris is going to tell you a little more about that.
For some people, some companies can look at storytelling and say, oh, this is kind of like woo-woo stuff. It's all soft, right? But there is a science behind it. When people hear stories, our brains are hardwired for them already. Because what happens is when you hear someone else tell their story, you're automatically putting yourself in their situation, but it's in a nice, safe, simulated way. So you have the opportunity to kind of rehearse how you would have done things either differently in that same situation, or how you can actually play with the outcome. But no one gets hurt, but you're going to be affected and inspired by someone else's stories. And stories have been around since the beginning of time. You think back to the caveman days, when that saber-toothed tiger was in another village, guess what? If you didn't pay attention to that particular village sharing the story of what happened, well, you were going to be in big trouble because you could die if you weren't paying attention. Okay, so that has been, it started, from the beginning of time, and it's been carried through. And it's really interesting how storytelling is becoming much more prevalent in business communication now.
So we really firmly believe that every single person and every single entrepreneur, every one of you here in the room tonight has a story to tell. So our question to you is, what's your story?
To start us off, and now this is the fun stuff. All right, we got through all the lecture stuff. This is when we turn it over to our good friend Al McWilliams from Cloud Media. Okay, Al started with us from the very first Andre Slam, and he's been kicking with us ever since. And Al, would you like to come on up? Everyone, welcome, and he will be taking it over from here.
Thank you, Tom and Daryl. I don't know if you picked that up or not, but
John, it's John.
John and Daryl? I thought it was Tom with T-H-O-M specifically. It's not Tom and Daryl. So I'm going to go through a couple of housekeeping things. But before I do that, I need to get judges selected. So I'm going to start over on this side of the room over here. I need people that are not telling stories tonight. I need one person to volunteer to be a judge from this area, from right here to right over here, from right here to right over here. One of you, 5 people need to raise your hand who are not telling a story tonight. There's only 5 of you.
There's only 4. He's telling a story.
You're all, he's telling us 4. Volunteer, awesome. Pick one person to be on your team with you. Judging team number 1. So what I'm gonna go through some rules. In the meantime, you're gonna come up with a team name, a judging team name, which I will probably make fun of at some point. And now here in the middle, somewhere from this end of that table to that end of that table.
They're both telling, they're both my friends.
They're both telling stories. They're both. This is by. All right. Well, I can mix this up. All right, Susan, you're judge number 2. Pick a team name. You're the time. Oh, crap. All right. You can be both. All right.
Okay.
I don't think timekeeping makes you biased. All right. So Susan, pick someone who's not telling a story. Man, she's telling a story.
You're not
She's telling a story.
Oh, you want to tell us?
This is, everyone at your table is a lot of people.
Are you telling me?
She's not. All right.
Toledo.
Judge. So you need a team name.
Okay. Nichols are dance too.
You don't have to tell me right now.
Okay.
But thank you. I appreciate the enthusiasm. All right. And now our third judging team will be these 2 young women over here. Because you came in late and I was offended. So because of that, you're going to be team number 3. Until you come up with a better name than team number 3. So do that. So I'm going to come back in a minute and ask you your judging team name. And then someone's going to write it on that board there. So while they do that, while everyone comes up with their team names, and they better be good, number 1. We're going to talk about the rules. And there are rules. I don't have to obey any of the rules, but our storytellers do. And those are up here. There's a 5-minute time limit. Stick to it. Timekeeper Susan, she has a gun. Don't go over. Must be true and be related to entrepreneurship. That's a key thing. No reading. I can read. You can't read. I have notes to get your names right. Also, you must follow the theme tonight is making a dent in the universe. My official title, and this is actually true and on my business cards, is Master of the Universe. So, you know what? Stop messing around. You're messing up my universe. But dent in the universe. And the final one, and this is the big one, no pitching. So we don't want to hear about, we don't want you to sell us your business right now. We want to hear an awesome story about the adventure that is your business or a business that you've been involved in the past. But we don't want you to be selling to us. And the judges will be very critical of this. And in the past, I think someone was killed. And yeah, so stick to the time limit because we have to be out of here at right on time. They have a 7/10 of the way to St. Patrick's Day party going on later tonight. So it's very important that we're out of here. It's an annual thing that they do, and they don't like us to mess with it. So now I'm going to go back to team number 1. Judging, what is your judging team name?
Team number 1.
So, I'm going to actually rename them. Don't write that down yet. They are Team Predictable Jokes. Predictable Jokes. Team, I knew someone was going to say that. All right.
Wait, predictable jokes or I know?
Predictable Jokes. Do Predictable Jokes. I like that one. It's shorter than the other one. All right. I can't figure out how to make this mic go higher, so excuse my Chris rocking it.
You can take it off.
You can take it out, man.
No, then I'd be the no ice in it. That's not even what he does. I don't know why I said that. You can hear me. I probably could just talk regular and it would be fine too.
What? Predictable joke.
Actually, no, that was actually a good joke. That was a solid joke. Can you change that to solid joke with that? No, don't do it. I still need to feel better than them. All right, and then, here on the left, team name, Susan.
Dimples are dense too.
Dimples are D-A-D-T.
Don't ask, don't tell. I like that.
Did I? Yeah. Don't ask. Dimples are dense too. I think it would be as well, though, would be probably. And here on the left.
We are 10s for Godiva. We accept bribes.
Wait.
Say it again.
We are 10s for Godiva. We accept chocolate.
10s for good.
Tens for Godiva.
Yes.
So,
Number 10.
Yes.
Okay.
tens for
Oh.
Godiva. I thought you meant if I gave you $10, you would give me chocolate. Which, that's kind of the way it always works when you want to buy chocolate. Okay, right. So, if anyone happened to bring Godiva with them this evening. All right, so that is my things.
So 5 versions.
So we're I'm going to bring up our first storyteller right now.
Do you want to tell me what the prize is?
That's later.
Oh, okay.
Jeff Myers.
Totally messing this up.
No, that's me. Actually, it's Team Predictable Jokes who's messing they're ruining everything. No, we're gonna bring up Angela Barbash first to tell us a story. So Angela, come on up. Tell us a story. And I don't know how to work this mic. I do now.
Okay. Hi, guys. So I'm going to apologize right up front. I'm teaching a workshop in downtown MC at 6 p.m. and I'm going to have to jet as soon as I'm done.
We're so offended.
Yeah. So I was asked to actually come and tell a story I've already told before. And I think it still applies to this theme of making a dent in the universe. So I'll tell the story of how I came to found a company called Reconsider, and Reconsider is making a dent in the universe, but here's the story of how I got there. In 2002, I was working at the Eastern Michigan University College of Business. I was at the Small Business and Technology Development Center. It's a big mouthful of words. And was helping people start small businesses, and I was studying cultural anthropology and history. And I was thinking about going to the local government. And I met a guy who was a financial advisor. And from 2002 to 04, while I worked at EMU, we had lunch 3 or 4 times a week for 2 years straight. And he apprenticed me and mentored me and taught me how the monetary system really works. Okay. So anyways, he taught me how the system works and taught me about money and the Federal Reserve and the history of the banking system and all this. And he made a case that if I didn't understand how money worked, I'd have no shot at really being effective in local government or wherever I went to go work. And he said, there's not enough women in this industry and I don't have a successor and that argument about understanding money. So I said, okay, I'll get licensed, I'll go into the industry. So that was in 04, and went to go work for him, and he was telling me that whole time, him and his colleagues and the people they were reading, that the housing market was going to crash, and that gold and silver was going to go through the roof, and he taught me about derivatives and the subprime mortgage mess and all this, and things were rebounding really nicely from the tech crash at that time, so I thought maybe they were crazy. And I bought a house in 2004 in Ypsi for $116,000 that I probably couldn't sell for $30,000 now. And furthermore, I thought that maybe I should go talk to the guys on the other side of the fence who were saying that everything is, rallying and everything's going to be great and that sort of thing, because I thought maybe these guys just didn't know. So I tried to find the most ethical firm I could work for, and I landed at a large firm that I won't say because I'm on camera. And, but you can go to my LinkedIn page to figure it out. And I worked there for 5 years. And in late 07, early 08, things started to get really shaky. And you were in the finance field, and I really appreciated your story. I just want to say that. You told it last week, and so you understand what we saw. And of course, everything that these guys said was going to happen happened. And I went to my firm, and I started going up the chain of command and saying, what about all of this that I had learned about years ago, and this research I'm reading now, and about, just all these issues. And they said, that's not really your problem to deal with. We don't pay you to be an analyst, we pay you to sell. And the first time I heard that, I thought, oh, this guy, whatever, he just doesn't know, he's trying to squash it. So I went to the next guy up, and I got the same verbatim line, we don't pay you to be an analyst. Actually, from one person got told, we don't pay you to think, we pay you to sell. And I went all the way up to the managing partner and got that same line, and that was when I realized, they had all gotten the executive people in a room and told them, when the advisors start rebelling, this is what you tell them. And I just couldn't sleep at night. So I ended up calling these guys back that had mentored me, and I called them in November of 08, and I said, it's a funny thing, you guys actually knew what you were talking about. Maybe we should get lunch. So I ended up coming back. Wow, that goes fast. So I ended up coming back and working for those guys, and worked for them for a couple of years, and clients made a ton of money, and we did great, and gold and silver and all that, and it's awesome. But I started to notice that there's this whole local investing movement, and clients were starting to want to talk about different things. They really didn't want their money involved in this system anymore. And the guys that I was working with just thought I was crazy for wanting to talk to clients about local investing. And I told them, I think that you guys are crazy to not see this opportunity for real systemic change in the industry. And so I left and founded our company, and have been out for the last year talking to people and educating the community, which is what I'm doing in about a half hour as a great spectators. And that's how we're making a dent in the universe. And we have made a massive dent in the universe, to the point where the people who have written the books on this in the last couple of years, we're in day-to-day communications. So, thanks.
Thank you, Angela. Thank you. So the moral of that story, just so I got it all boiled down, MBAs are douchebags. That's what was that it? No? There's more to it than that? I tuned out. I was like, speak it, system. So now we get to judging you, because here at Action Slam we judge openly as opposed to behind your back like the rest of the world. So I'm going to start over here on my left with 10s for Godiva. So so remember, and I forgot to go this, the highest score you can receive is actually 10.9, because you each have a 10-point card in your hand. So 10.9 is the highest. Don't think it's 10.10 because they need to be bad at math. That's actually 10.1, which is lower than 10.9.
So it's criteria?
So
We're judging this very nice lady on.
that you've never met and you have no context whatsoever. No, throw up some numbers. Do it. You gotta throw it up. How do you feel about what she had to tell you? Did you enjoy the story? Did you enjoy yourself? Did you not enjoy yourself? Did you feel like she was belittling you as a person? Do you feel less about yourself now than you did before she spoke? Did she follow the rules?
I say 8 because I don't know the rules.
Upside down 8, okay. And do you have a point? Do you want to add a 8.8? So 8 upside down 8 point upside down 8.
So we're at 8.8.
Upside down. So you can see that this is yes, this is a big deal. So I'm gonna now go here on my right to Predictable Joe's. Team Predictable Joe's. 45.23. So it's each one is before the decimal point and one is after. We're only working with one significant figure after the decimal point. I read English, so it goes left to right. So anybody on the left is going to be in front of the decimal point, and anybody on the right is going to be after the decimal point. As most English people read numbers. 5.5 from Predictable Jokes. Awesome, thank you. And now here with Don't Ask, Don't Tell. 9.2 from Don't Ask, Don't Tell. 9.2 from Don't Ask, Don't Tell. And now I will bring up our next storyteller, who is Deb Nystrom. Deb Nystrom is joining me up here.
Tell us your story again.
Go? Let's go? Here we go. All right. All right, well, I'm Deb, and I'm going to tell you about an aspect about how a woman became the mistress of the universe because she found a way to step out and trust someone in trust. So step out of the box and trust someone, and sometimes it includes a paisley jacket. So here's how this starts. A friend comes to me and says, "Hey, Deb, can you help me out? We've been thinking," he's a business owner, he says, "we've got this staff member here and she needs some help. We've been thinking about this a long time. She is a fashion disaster, and we know this isn't what you do," because I do consulting and I do leadership development kind of stuff. "We know this isn't what you do, but you're kind of a fashionista. And we think you could help her, and we really need the help because the customers are telling us that her wardrobe is atrocious. It's terrible. We talk to her, we try to get her to dress up, and so what happens is she goes from, saggy, unshaped, dark clothes that just don't do anything for her, to a version of some kind of spandex, sparkly disco queen glam rock of the 80s. That's her version of dressing up for business clients. So we're in need of a fashion intervention. Please, will you help us?" And I thought, first of all, my first thought was, I'd like to venture. This could be fun. This could be really fun. And my second thought was, I am in business, and this is a friend of mine, and they're in business. This could be bad. I need to turn my little checklist on and make sure I'm doing the right things for this individual as well as this company. So, head, hands, heart. Let's get the three aligned. And the head said, okay, checklist, there will be a coaching contract, there will be all my business rules, all those types of things. And I checked them off and removed the red flags. We're good there. The second part of this is, hey, she has to be committed to this. Is she willing to do this? This is kind of stepping out and trusting someone she's never met to dress her. And wardrobe is a personal thing. She's getting a little bit naked here, literally, to try on some clothes. So how's this going to be for her? So all these conferences went on. I had some emails exchanged, and then I talked to her and I asked her to send me some photos. And the hard part came out when I realized there was a karmic alignment here because we're both autumns and Color Me Beautiful. We both had the same colors. I thought, okay, that's looking good. And she's 100% committed. She really wants to do this. She is interested. So she's ready, she's able, she's willing, she is fit for this. And the timing seems right for the company because they had thought about this a long time, it turns out. So all systems go, and plus, once I saw the photos, I said, oh man, I just want to get my hands on a paisley jacket and put it on her and see if it works. I'm just curious. So off we went. The day was scheduled. I decided that I was going to schedule it in November on my birthday just for fun because it's like I get to do an afternoon of shopping with somebody else's money, and I get to play with clothes. It's so awesome. I think it's going to be good. Let's try it. So we did, and we conquered. She blossomed. For 2.5 hours, we tried on all kinds of clothes. Some didn't work. She was good. She rebounded. She found new things. We found a whole new color wardrobe. And when she brought those sparkly spandexy things over, it's like she learned not to. And when it was too tight, too stretchy, or too weird, she learned not to. Okay, so it looks good. She went home with a big pile of stuff and very hopeful, and she was transforming herself the way she was looking at clothes. Then what happened was a problem. turns out that this attention by the company to, number one, pay for that wardrobe and give her that time off got her a little cocky, and I found out that she didn't show up for work on Monday or Friday, and she was in a disciplinary process. Oh, there's trouble in paradise. This is not good. This is not good. What's going to happen? You know, so I was like, okay, let's see. So what happened, this is the end of the story. Discipline process, they had the conversation, the business owner had the conversation, and she came forward and said, I am going to be in on this. I want to be a member of this organization, and, you know, the control process is in place about, hey, this isn't quite working, you know, step up to it. So I got the email yesterday, and it said, I got the email today, actually, and it said from the business owner, who is terse and introverted, 3 happy faces. Number 1, she got us an appointment with the director of a company. Number 2, she walked in with the paisley jacket with melon, then picked up the colors in the paisley jacket and gray pants, and she looked great. These are his words exactly. And number 3, we walked out with the contract. So, now, can I get a boom? Boom! Boom! All right. So here are 4 things. I've modeled a little thing called membership control goal. Number 1, sometimes you need to step out of the box with someone you trust, and membership control goal is that sometimes you have to go backwards into membership. Are you going to be a part of us or not? To get back into control and to reach the goal. They reach the goal. And number 4 is that Paisley can be awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Deb. Thank you, Deb. So, I'm going to start the judging this time, the judging of Deb, over here on the right with Team Predictable Jokes. You have an issue?
Yeah, did that go over 5?
Yes.
Yes.
It did.
Oh, you're getting deductions. Team Predictable Jokes is also predictably anal. 3.1 from Team Predictable Jokes for technical issues. It's a big deal. All right, I'm gonna now go to Team We'll Do Anything for Chocolate. They told me that when I was over there, just in case any of you were curious. Anything for Chocolate, 7.1 from Team We Will Do Literally Anything for just even the smallest amount of chocolate. What may you? Just a little bit. And now from Team Don't Ask, Don't Tell.
Don't ask, don't tell.
9.5 from Team Don't Ask, Don't Tell. Thank you, Deb. Thank you very much for that. I will now bring up our next storyteller, who will do anything for Vanilla Bean, Sir Kim. Come on.
In 2010, I was sitting in my bedroom meditating when I received the message that it was time to go. During that time, I had my own coaching practice that integrated meditation, yoga, healing together with coaching. I was also teaching at some of the biggest yoga studios in Los Angeles. So I was really surprised when I received this message that it was time to go. I didn't receive where I was going to go. I was being asked through my guidance to let go of everything that I had so that I could focus on my own healing. And there's something about taking yourself out of routine that forces you to get really present. And when you're really present, miracles happen. Within the next month, I knew I was going to go to John of God. John of God is a miracle healer in Amazônia, Brazil. It's in the middle of nowhere. And it was very interesting because I didn't realize I needed a Brazilian visa to go down there. So I didn't prepare. I'd already bought my plane ticket. I didn't actually actually arranged for a place to stay while I was down there. And yet, everything flowed and worked out perfectly. It turned out that my visa was expedited. And when I got down there, someone had left their house during the exact same time of my entire stay in Albajania, which was 3 months. It was very synchronistic. The whole experience of being a child of God was beyond my imagination. It was so powerful. It was exactly what I needed. And it took me to the next step in my work. As soon as I came back from Albajania, together with the independent producers of Gaiam, we produced 3 yoga videos in Boulder, Colorado. In 2011, I felt called to go to Salt Spring Island. And I became very interested in this idea of synchronicity, of being at the right time, at the right place, with the right people, without having to really think or plan or make things happen. I became very interested in prayer. And in Salt Spring Island, I chose to be in retreat. I rented a cottage on the lake, very rustic. I chopped wood, carried my own water across a big horse field. And I noticed that when I prayed, I could feel energy coming in through the top of my head. And I could literally feel, as I prayed, as I intended something, all the cells in my body shifting. And I could feel that I was creating from the inside out. I was receiving a healing, a clearing, so that my energy could shift and match the energy that I intended to create. And after I did that, I started to receive internal messages about what to do. And these messages often created these synchronicities. And I realized that synchronicity is a form of manifestation. Synchronicity is a form of manifestation. Same with prayer. We each have the ability to co-create with Source. And that all it really takes is a little bit of creativity, intention, imagination, and allowance, letting it happen. In 2011, I wrote a small book on intuitive prayer and how to pray. We talk about prayer a lot, but how does prayer actually work? So I included this in the book, and in 2012, I wrote a book called Synchronicity and the Unexpected Life. Carl Jung was the first one to coin the term synchronicity as a meaningful coincidence. And as I traveled on the road, everything flowed, everything came together. And what I learned is everything is already here now. It is only our beliefs, our ways of thinking, our expectations that block us from receiving what it is that we really need. This was the first year that I taught intuitive prayer in Los Angeles, and the reception was really profound. We experienced miracles in our group, and it really took the work to a whole new level in terms of healing through prayer. Healing through prayer. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Surah. One thing that I know, because Surah told the story a week ago at Asha Slam, and I know this about her, so this is interesting. Proof that not all MBAs are douchebags, and that's where we're at. And this, you guys are talking really loud. Your discussion, judging is very loud.
This is a tricky one.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's so that maybe that adds a layer to your judging dilemma, is that she's actually like a really awesome lady. So now I'm going to start judging with. I'm going to start with your compadres over here. So in the center with The only other acronyms that I could come up with for DADT cannot be said on public access television. So,
The Don't Ask, Don't Tell was pretty good.
well, yeah, but there's a clear other acronym that can be used there, and I'll let everyone know that. But so team 9.2 from team. All right. 9.2.
Self-censored.
All right, so now I'm going to go over here to team Predictable Jokes, who are really taking this very seriously. But I would expect nothing less from 3.1 from Team Predictable Jokes. 3.1 from Team. You guys you have
consistent too.
cards that have numbers higher than 5. You are aware of this? They're there. There's only a couple more storytellers. I mean, you have to get everybody in contact right there. They're being right. You're just.
We were looking for equality with the lab. We don't want to. We're thinking about it.
And now, after, if you can follow that, team,
Sorry, Jeff.
come over here and sit by us if you have chocolate.
We'll put a warning under the video.
What is your score? 8, upside down 8.1.
Yeah, if you're fine.
I expect that to be upside.
Yeah.
Upside down 8.1. All right, and now I would like to invite up our next speaker, was Cynthia. Come on up. Tell us the story.
Okay, so this is my Liberace Tai Chi jacket. All right, so I'll begin my story now. At first, I want to say that the universe put a dent in itself with me. I was, as a child, at 8 years old, I understood that life was going to be my greatest teacher. And I grew up in the projects, and one day my mother came home and she found that I had put nails all around the ceiling and took very colorful yarn and just went crazy up there. And I said, Mom, she asked me why I did it. I said, I'm tired of living in a box. But that's a whole nother story. In 1967, my mother sent me to Vermont to meet the 4 Tree Sisters. And there they sat me down with 50 yarrow stalks and introduced me to the I Ching. Well, what's the I Ching? It's a Chinese book, the first book written on cause and effect. Then the wind brought me mentors who introduced me to Tai Chi, meditation, Shiatsu, energy work, and I just soared with that information. Yet, that's another story. In 1968, I met James Turner, who was a student of Grandmaster William C.C. Chen, and I kind of was his sidekick. I assisted him in teaching. And at one point, we decided to move to New Mexico. Before we moved, he taught me that Tai Chi was a state of mind. And he did that by doing some incredible things like jumping over 4 people with a cup of tea on a saucer in his hand and breaking 4 boards with his foot and not spilling a drop of tea. Then we packed it up and we moved to New Mexico on a long-ass bus ride. And there, you know, things took a turn. We split up, and I had culture shock because, like Surah, I wound up hauling water, cooking on a wood-burning stove, and there was no electricity and no lock on my door. And coming from New York, that was definitely culture shock. So I went to Boulder, Colorado, where the son introduced me to Buddhist meditation with Trungpa Rinpoche and Taoist meditation with Jia Fu Feng. I used to sit in the back of a truck, a delivery truck of groceries, and sneak onto Jia Fu Feng's property because you weren't allowed to come on there unless you were part of his ashram. But that's another story. So in 1988, I show up here in Ann Arbor, Michigan, where I started the Peaceful Dragon School of Tai Chi and energy work called Qigong. And here I have taught students things like center, relax, be mindful, balance, breathe. And as you do that, you have a universe that you are a part of. And the universe is this big. And yet you inside that universe, with your ego, occupy this much space. And as you let go, and you center in, and you learn about balance, and you breathe and let go, you experience this much of the universe. My dent in the universe, this is how many students I have taught in 10 years.
Thank you, Vicente Young. Thank you very much. So I'm going to start the judging over here. I know these kids are going to be, they're going to be a while. I'm going to start way over here on the left with team. We've done weird things in the past for chocolate. But we won't talk about what those things are in public. But later, the three of us, we're going to talk about those things. 6.1 from team. We have done weird things in the past for chocolate, but we're not going to talk about those things right now. But later, the three of us, we're going to talk about those things. Did you get that? Got it. Now over here, you get ready. Should I come back later? 5.3 from. That's actually really good. Way to go. An amazing record-setting 5.3 from team. From team.
We have a 5.5.
Predictable jokes. Predictable jokes over there. Oh, you did have a 5.5. All right. But you were just getting started. You didn't know how terrible you were going to be yet. Right. All right. And now here in the middle from team, we're sitting with the person who just told the story.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's okay. No.
She abstained. She said it was her best friend, so.
Oh, you're best friends with Susan? Oh, I like you better now. That's. No, I liked you plenty to start, but now I know that you're friends with Susan. Now we're like this, even though you've never spoken to me. You may but I like you. So,
I meant it.
team
impartial
solo person is giving her a 9.9 or upside down 6.6, which was a predictable joke. Do you see where I went with that? Okay. Now I would like to bring up our next storyteller, who moved. I thought he left. David Landau, come on up. Really excessive.
I
Hi, it's great to see this crowd again. When I spoke a couple weeks ago, Live was completely full. I was dressed like a fallen angel, but nobody really knew that who saw the video. So I saw this guy in black lipstick and chains and angel wings and a halo, and like, this is a really weird person talking about a video. He's kind of a freak, and so we updated the description, everything was fine. So, making an impact in the universe, making an impact on other people through entrepreneurship, that's an interesting theme because a lot of people start businesses for different ways. I know when I started my first company back in 2007, it wasn't out of ambition, it wasn't about creativity, it wasn't about inventing something and changing the world, it was about necessity. I was in school, I was a junior, I was at U of M, and I had a surprise announcement from my father that he was diagnosed with a pretty intense, severe form of cancer. So I had run a business and started a skilled trades company the summer before that. I didn't intend to keep it going, but it ended up being a lifeline and a way to keep going and keep working and have the creative freedom to support my family and be there for him. But while I was running it, I noticed a few things. First of all, that when you start a company, you provide jobs for other people. You're not just doing something for yourself. You're not just fulfilling a role and getting something done, but you're changing other people's lives. And if you do a good job and you grow the company, you give them security. You help them put food on the table. You do something that very few people can do in any other type of work setting. So when the family environment was okay, I thought, how can I expand the difference that one person can make through building companies, through running companies? So I took a little bit of time off work. I went to Stanford Business School in 2010. And if you want to talk about a dynamic area full of creative people, what better place to go than Silicon Valley? It's in the news, it's on TV, it's kind of the entrepreneurial Hollywood. And the vibe in the Valley is again, it goes beyond personal ambitions. It goes, how can you create something beyond yourself? How can you make a tectonic shift in the marketplace? How can you change the world with Facebook, Google, LinkedIn, Yahoo, all these companies that were born within 30 miles of each other and made a much bigger impact than the people themselves who worked in those firms. So I came back and I started coaching. I started doing more than just working in my own firm. I started working with people who wanted to start and create businesses of their own. And what I found is people wanted to do this higher level ambition. They didn't just want to work in a job. They wanted to evolve a job beyond a career to a calling. Or what they did in the day-to-day wasn't just punching a clock, but was also creating jobs for people, creating something for nothing, having a ripple effect on the community, on the universe. So an hour with somebody, coaching them over the phone, or maybe a larger consulting engagement where I take a team and we go in and we totally create or transform a business. That's something that isn't just making a widget or cleaning a house. That's creating jobs for people. That's building something that's an established organization in society, which can maybe give to nonprofit organizations, host events, do multiple things over time. Before you know it, you have a company that has 100 people employed, that's a solid part of the community, and that's a lot more than what it would have been if it was just one person and an idea, something they did when they were moonlighting. So we have iPhones, we have Androids, we have all these different smartphones and tablets, but Palm Computing started by two guys who were thinking, oh, let's do a different type of business and a different type of PDA. They had 4 hours a week to create this organization. They weren't thinking, oh, we're going to do something big, ambitious. We're not going to look for a new job. We're just going to give it a shot. So thinking about the people who come to EntreSlam and tell stories about entrepreneurship, do you really think that the type of business we create with our spare time, or might be lucky enough to do in full time, can make a big enough impact to create a product that can change the world? Even though Palm doesn't exist, what we do in the day-to-day, every single device that we have is affected because of what people were able to do in their spare time while they were in grad school. So being fortunate enough to having been forced into a situation where I created a company, and now being fortunate enough where I can help other people create companies, I encourage everybody here to keep telling your story and to keep thinking of the stories of successful entrepreneurs who did more than just create work for themselves, but created work for other people and changed lives and created a ripple effect that goes on and on over time. So thanks for your time tonight.
Thank you, Dr. Landau. He's not a real doctor. As we judge publicly David Landau, I'm going to tell you a little bit about January
31st.
31st is the next Entre Slam. It normally takes place at Live, which you may know as the place you go to shake your booty. And it's generally a pretty big crowd, and it's fun and a little awkward sometimes, but that's the way I like it. So now we're going to judge David Landau, and I'm going to start over here on the right because they appear to be ready. Team, we're taking this really seriously. On the right. 4.1 from team 4.10. Did we mention we were talking mathematics and English here? 4.1.
Yeah.
5. All right, this is 5. Oh, so you were out meta-ing me, if that's a phrase that I can use. So 5. 4.10.
You've been ahead.
I'm right, you know that. You know I'm right. So now over here on the left, team, I gave them some chocolate a minute ago and it was totally worth it.
Oh, well, then I guess so.
Look what I did for your score, David. All right, there we go. 8.4 for there. Now it's upside down. Now it's upside down. Now it's upside down. 0.4. All right, and now right here in the middle with team Dad, it's Mr. T.
Mr. T.
9.2 from Dad.T. Dad.T. Okay, so now Jeff here, who's our lovely host for the evening, and provided, I forgot that thing about providing all the refreshments. And there's refreshments if you guys want them, and Concentrate Media is in charge of them, so enjoy them. And they're of various qualities. He's calculating the scores. There's complex mathematics going on. Again, January 31st is the next Entre Slam. It's at Live. I will be there. Probably a couple of these other folks will be there. Much drunker and weirder than they are this evening. I want Team Predictable Jokes to come back. I want them to be the judges. I feel like the judging has gone to the next level now. And the folded arms and scowl tells me that we have the right people. That's I dread the day I see that man scowl. I think I actually have before. So now I'm going to have Jeff Myers come up here and tell us what the prizes are.
Oh, okay.
You're going to tell us what the prizes are, but don't. Actually, I'm going to call the winners first in no particular order. If you have that calculator right now. Okay, in no particular order, I would like the 3 people to join me up here. I would like Wasenta, Angela, and David to join me up here. And now, Mr. Myers is going to explain what the prizes are and who gets them. In reverse order, thank you very much.
All right, in reverse order.
Yes.
Let's see that again. So is there a representative for Angela? No. What?
You're invisible, and we're very happy to accept the award on your behalf.
Okay. All right. So in third place with 21.3 points was Wasenta Young. So the third place prize is actually a throwback to back when I used to run poetry slams, and we always gave the runner-up Pez dispensers as our rewards. So, and I was trying to think who is a entrepreneurial character that would be on a Pez dispenser, and I couldn't think of one. Mark over there reminded me that I should have looked for Mr. Burns from The Simpsons, because he is rather entrepreneurial. So I picked the next best thing, which was innovative. So I picked Phineas and Ferb Pez dispensers, who are both very innovative young men. So. Second, with 23.6 points is David Landau. And this is where we award you pickles. And these are McClure pickles, so they're locally sourced.
He gets all the love.
Yeah. And our number one, our winner tonight, who unfortunately had to jet to Ypsilanti, is Angela Barbash with 24.5 points, and she wins $50. So,
We see her on Monday.
do you? Okay. So there's a $50. It's a $50. I guess that's. Do you have a final word?
Krista and Jeannie are here.
That's why I said Jeannie and Krista. So thank you so much for doing this. Thanks for sharing your story.